I didn't rate things, so I got a 13 out of 21. But that's actually not even that bad.
Okay, so a little review from yesterday on this. So if we have a point at negative 5, 5, negative 5, 5 is right up there. Where do we draw the next two lines? Down to the x-axis and over to the origin, and here's our angle right there. Okay, negative 5, 5. So, what's negative 5 squared? What's 5 squared? What's 25 plus 25? So your hypotenuse is the square root of 50, but we can break that down into the square root of 25, square root of 2, or 5 square root of 2. So to find the sign of that, you go 5 over 5 square root of 2. These cancel, and you put a 1 up top. Can you leave it as 1 over square root of 2? No. You multiply top and bottom by square root of 2, and you get square root of 2 over 2. Cosine is the exact same, except for it has a negative on the top. These cancel, so it's negative square root of 2 over 2. What is our tangent? Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, and bless you again. Tangent, 5 over, opposite over adjacent is negative 5, which is negative 1. Cosecant, you flip over the sign. Now the sign was originally 1 over square root of 2, right? So it's square root of 2 over 1 or square root of 2. Secant was originally 1 over square root of 2 with a negative, so it's negative square root of 2. And cotangent is the reciprocal of negative 1, which is negative 1. Okay? What if we have negative 6, negative 7? That's not going to be a very pretty number. Negative 6, negative 7 is down here. Negative 6, negative 7. What's negative 6 squared? What's negative 7 squared? 49 plus 36 is 85. So this is the square root of 85. So the sign is negative 7 over the square root of 85. Can't leave it like that, so we multiply top and bottom by the square root of 85. So it's negative 7 square root of 85 over 85. Cosine would be negative 6 square root of 85 over 85 if you follow the same thought process, right? What's tangent? So from here, opposite over adjacent is negative 7 over negative 6, which is 7 over 6. Cosecant. So it's the square root of 85 over negative 7. Hypotenuse over opposite. Oop. Yeah, it's not, no, it's just a negative up front. Positive over negative is a negative. Okay? Secant would be negative square root of 85 over 6, and this would be 6/7. Okay? You'll have a couple problems of review from yesterday. Then, what we're going to do is figure out what would the cosine of 270 degrees be? Well, 270 degrees is right down here. Okay? So what we want to use is what's called the unit circle. What is the unit circle, you ask? Well, let's look at the unit circle. Trigonometry. Unit circle. It is a circle. Go up. It is a circle with a radius of 1. Okay? And so at a radius of 1, if you go this way, the cosine is 1 and the sine is going to be 0 because your hypotenuse is 1 and you can't go anywhere from there. Okay? If you make a 30-degree triangle right here, what are you doing? If you make a 30-degree triangle right here, okay, 30-degree triangle, And if 1 is a hypotenuse on a 30, 60, 90 triangle, if we look over here at a 30, 60, 90 triangle, our hypotenuse is twice as long as our short side. Well, if our hypotenuse is 1, what's our short side? 1/2. Ooh, I'm having difficulties right now. 1/2. Okay? And then from our short side, we multiply that by the square root of 3 to get to the long leg. That's our 30, 60, 90 triangles from geometry. Okay? Now, what we have right here is where the ordered pairs are for that point, which, this makes life easy. So did you notice how the square root of 3 over 2 was on the x-axis? So that must be my cosine. What's on my y-axis must be my sine. So the cosine of 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. The sine of 30 degrees is 1/2. Now, if you could only have this sheet of paper in front of you, wouldn't that be nice? I printed it out this morning, but not expecting you guys to come here second period for some odd reason. My head is in the garbage pail. I left them in the teacher's lounge. So do you think I should go get these right now to just help you guys out just maybe a little bit? Okay. Why don't I go get those? I'll be back in 2 minutes unless there's a whole bunch of cookies or food.
I kind of zoned out, so I have no idea where all of them. So what are you talking about?
Yep, good question.
Great, because I feel like I fell asleep.
Tell me about prom, because I feel like it probably makes sense.
If I didn't zone out,
I think it's gonna be fun. Just make it really fun. Make it fun. I hope invitations are made. Whoever's on
and
invitations.
well, as well as tomorrow, we have performance.
Do you know who's on invitations?
I will.
You know what I want.
Yeah, I've got like a some.
I'm only doing it so that I can get out of school.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Maybe they'll laugh.
Yeah.
Tell them to come to read.
It's not a class. It's like I kind of.
Just kidding, we don't need them.
I have one program to try.
I can show you. They should make it a class. It's kind of fun.
It's the one that thing is it's not on a Sunday, so for some people it works.
I wish they picked this up. No, we just had it.
Yeah, she is in her kids.
I didn't put those on. I didn't know.
My favorite is this kind of you said for kids, right?
I was thinking.
Yeah. My favorite are like college age, older guys that do the interviews or interviews, but this community center is like this place that people can sign up and do. So they look like college students, but then the dads are presenting. So they bring their toddlers with, have them sit on the sidelines and have the kids cheer as they pass them. Except in like juniors.
Because I think she's on James. I think
Yeah. You're gonna wet what?
It's like I'm giving them this
But I don't
they better be
know.
willing
Well,
to
she was sending them pictures.
I just think it's funny. It's like, yes, taking responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
Just going to literally.
I literally was just like,
No.
yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Some
except
what?
Because she just not like straight black ones. These are the colors that you guys are like. It's like red.
Where'd you come from that? Because he felt like take us.
What? I had to go through the office.
Oh, okay, I was like, that's just.
All right, do not, besides your name, do not write anything on these. If you write anything on these, you will not get to use them on a quiz or a test. So no taking notes, no saying which one is sine, which one is cosine, or how to find tangent, or anything on here. That's something you have to know. So besides your name, these should be absolutely no other writing on them. All right, here we go. Oh, thank you. So now, going back to OneNote, cosine of 270 degrees. Well, cosine is going to be your x, as I just explained. What is your x at 270 degrees? 0. That's a cosine of 270 degrees. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Sine of negative 7 pi over 6. Uh-oh. We got to use what we've learned earlier. We have to use coterminal angles. Coterminal angles are how far apart? In radians. In radians. 2 pi. So 2 pi is what over 6? What over 6 is 2 pi? 12 pi. So what we're going to do is add 12 pi over 6 to negative 7 pi over 6. So we're looking for the sine of 5 pi over 6. So find 5 pi over 6 on your unit circle. You're looking for the sine. So you're looking for the y of that. So what's the y of 5 pi over 6? 1/2. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You have a cheat sheet right in front of you that your teacher gave you. Okay? You just got to know how to use it. Cosine of negative pi over 2. Coterminal angles. What over 2 equals 2 pi? What over 2 equals 2 pi? 4 pi over 2. If we have 4 pi over 2 to negative pi over 2, we get 3 pi over 2. At 3 pi over 2, what's the cosine? What's the x value? 0. Okay? Ooh, now we've moved into cotangent. Cotangent is equal to cosine over sine, correct? So that would be x over y, because cosine is x, sine is y. It's my daughter. I guess I'll have to call her later. What's the cosine of pi over 2? 0. What's the sine of pi over 2? 1. 0 divided by 1 is 0. Okay. Cosecant. What is cosecant? Well, cosecant is 1 over sine. So it's 1 over the sine of 0. What's the sine of 0? What's the sine at 0? 0. So it's 1 over 0. What is 1 over 0? Undefined. You cannot divide by 0. So it's undefined. What's the secant of 0? Well, the secant of 0 is 1 over the cosine of 0. What's the cosine of 0? 1. 1 over 1 is 1. Okay? See how reading this is not too bad? So you guys can do a bunch of the... Ooh, let's do this one. The tangent of negative 4 pi over 3. Well, it's a negative, so we got to use coterminal angles to make it positive. So what over 3 is 2 pi? 6 pi over 3. Negative 4 pi over 3 plus 6 pi over 3 is 2 pi over 3. What's the tangent of 2 pi over 3? Well, it's the sine of 2 pi over 3 over the cosine of 2 pi over 3. What's the sine of 2 pi over 3? Square root of 3 over 2. What's cosine of 2 pi over 3? Negative 1/2. So multiply by the denominator of the denominator to get rid of your denominators. So it's square root of 3 over negative 1 or negative square root of 3. All right, so if we add, what's the sine over 2 plus sine of pi over 2 plus pi over 4? It would be the sine of 2 pi over 4 plus pi over 4, right? Or the sine of 3 pi over 4. What's the sine of 3 pi over 4? Square root of 2 over 2. Okay? Then, when you get down to this part, you start using your calculator. What's the sine of 26 degrees? Well, make sure your calculator's in degree mode, not radian mode. So you hit mode and make sure you're in degrees, not radians. And you hit sine of 26 and you write down your answer to 4 decimal places. .4384. Okay, so I'll skip the next one. Tangent of negative 319.4 degrees. The calculator can actually figure that out. You can type the negative in, and you should be fine. Tangent of negative 319.4 degrees. 0.857 what? 1. Okay. 61 degrees, 42 minutes. Oh, it's really, like, you can get to degrees, minutes, seconds on your calculators, but sometimes it's just easier to change it to a decimal. What's 42 divided by 60? Point what? 0.7. So really, this is a cosecant of 61.7, but it's cosecant on your calculator. No. So this is 1 divided by the sine of 61.7. So take 1 divided by the sine of 61.7. And what do you get? 1.1357. Okay? The sine of an angle is negative 7/8. What would the cosecant be? Well, sine and cosecant are reciprocal functions, right? So if you're given a fraction, you just list the reciprocal of the fraction, negative 8/7. Okay? So if we know the sine of something, the cosecant would be its reciprocal. Okay? Now, what quadrant are we in? Where the sine is positive and the secant is positive. Well, the secant is a reciprocal of what? Cosine. So where is sine positive and cosine positive? Where are both your x and y values positive? 1. Here, the sine is positive and the cosine is negative. Here, both the sine is negative and the cosine is negative. And here, the cosine is positive and the sine is negative. Okay? Good things to know. All right, so let me put out your assignment. There are plenty of problems for you to do. So, let's get started on it.